everybody. So Oklahoma is becoming quite a hot spot. We want them to come not only to Oklahoma, but to make those projects here in the Cherokee Nation. And we want to provide opportunities for you and others to be involved and to represent Cherokees and Native Americans appropriately. We encourage you to visit Cherokee.film to get more information and to sign up on one of our newly launched Cherokee Nation databases that we will make available to those film and TV producers. You can sign up to be a Native American talent, a background actor, a lead actor, a film crew, or you can even sign up to be a film-friendly business who might have services that a film project can use while they're here. The databases are open for enrollment for all ages, all tribes, and all business types. So we're trying to really be a leader in Native America in this film office. So you may be surprised at all of the opportunities there are for our surrounding film projects. So check out our check out our website for sure. Again, it's Cherokee.film. And grab your smartphones right now, go to Facebook and like our Cherokee Nation Film Office page. It's a great way to get all of the latest information, including things like casting calls for Native American extras needed on local TV and film projects. We just posted one last week, guys. I hope all of our Cherokee and Native American and allied filmmakers who are a part of any of the films that we're going to be seeing here tonight or this weekend will come up here and stand in front of the stage. And some of you come stand behind me. I would like to recognize you kind of right here underneath the stage. That would be great. Tonight, we're going to be seeing some incredible film projects created by Cherokees and our filmmaking allies and about Cherokees. You will get to see the hotly anticipated premiere of Inage-E, the Cherokee language cartoon, created by the Cherokee Nation Language Department and Fire Thief Productions, and of course, a special extended episode of the all-new season premiere of OCO TV. Following that, get ready for a sci-fi film called Tochu, or Redbird, where a woman must confront a mysterious predator in parallel worlds. So at this time, I would like to recognize everyone here tonight who had a hand in making the films that we are presenting this weekend. Nobody came and stood behind me. All right. So you guys might not be able to see them in the back, but they're all standing here. Everybody wave. Let's hear it for them. And this could be you. These are all people who work and live in the Cherokee Nation and in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Thank you guys so much. Okay, yes, you're good. Yeah, you're good. Okay, so you all were giving them a round of applause. One thing that we thought might be fun is if you like something you see tonight, flash your headlights. And you can cheer also, but
no, don't do
flashing
that.
Your headlights would be great. So, speaking of what you'll be seeing tonight, you're going to be seeing some humorous short films at the very beginning. These short films were created 100% on smartphones as part of our inaugural Oklahomies Film Contest, which we kicked off at the beginning of the pandemic as a way to incorporate fun and quarantining at home. The entrants were required to incorporate some aspect of home quarantine in their film, so spoiler alert, when you see a film about toilet paper surviving in the wild, you will know why. These films are proof that these days anyone can get into film and all you need is a smartphone to get started. Finally tonight, we want to send a huge thank you to Cherokee Nation businesses for their support and for the support and backing of Principal Chief of the Cherokee Nation, Chuck Hoskin Jr., who is here with us tonight. Hi, Chief. Thank you so much for your support in making this possible. Let's give him a round of applause. And also to, excuse me, Deputy Chief Brian Warner. They are really cheerleaders for us and allow us to think outside the box to bring this industry to you. So, on that note, Chief Hoskin has a very special announcement for all of us here tonight. So I'm going to pitch it over to him to get the night started. But first, on behalf of the Cherokee Nation Film Office, Wado for being here, and please enjoy the drive-in movies and the rest of Cherokee National Holiday.
Never knew it was pronounced Wado.
Good evening, and welcome to the inaugural Drive-In Movie Nights presented by Cherokee Nation
I
Film
feel like
Office.
this isn't live,
As
Liam.
principal
What do you
chief
think?
of our great Cherokee Nation, I'm proud of the work being done by our film office. We need more Native American and Cherokee voices in the film and TV industries telling our stories and ensuring that our voices are considered in an ever-growing pop culture landscape. The inaugural Drive-In Movie event showcases film and TV work being created by Cherokee Nation citizens. We need more, and we want you to know that the film and TV industries are accessible to anyone who wants to be in them, no matter what your level of education or what you may be pursuing. So tonight, it's my pleasure to announce we are providing 50 scholarships to Cherokee Nation citizens who want to learn the basics of the film industry. All courses will be online and at your fingertips to be completed when it's convenient for you. To apply, visit Cherokee Nation Film Office's website at cherokee.film. I hope to see something you've worked on at next year's Drive-In Movie Nights. Waddell.
If it's online, how come you only are limited to 50? What? Doesn't make sense, does it, Liam?
We live in a world with vast and staggering diversity. A planet teeming with life. But in many places, that life is threatened. Here, in the temperate forests of North America, great plush herds once roamed freely. This solitary roll of toilet paper is all that remains of a once thriving pack. Alone, it sets out in search of others, traveling up to 60 kilometers in a single day. Estimates show that fewer than 3,000 still exist in the wild today, harvested by humans for their fleece, which they make use of to clean their anuses. This toilet paper skeleton is a grim reminder of the fate which awaits the roll, should it be captured. In the 21st century, panic shoppers hunted this species to near extinction. Toilet paper was domesticated and grown in captivity, living out its short life on crowded shelves, packed into plastic containers, one on top of the other. In the wild, the range of a single roll of toilet paper can stretch up to 200 kilometers. This roll will have to travel twice that distance in search of a mate. If this majestic species is to have any chance of a hope of recovery, it is imperative that a solitary roll such as this one are successful in their quest for a partner. It appears he's in luck. He spotted a female roll. But first, he must catch her eye. Leaping, he begins the time-honored tradition, the mating dance of the northern quilted ultra plush. Males of this species must perform the courtship promenade with precision and flair if they are to be successful in their seduction of the fairer tissue. Success! It seems to have worked. The female has accepted the advances and welcomes the young roll. Together, they can produce nearly 900 baby wipes a year. Not all of them will live till adulthood, but for now, the noble toilet paper has hope for a brighter future.
That was actually pretty good, huh, Liam? I'm really impressed by that. Don't flash your lights, guys. This is pretty good. You enjoying this? Never fun? Well, nice to shoot. Not too bad, huh? Careful now.
Quarantine log 42. This situation that we're in has gone on longer than I anticipated. I'm running low on supplies. And today, I come face to face with my worst nightmare. I've used the last sheet of toilet paper. I held on as long as I could, but the pain was too much to bear. Now it's just a matter of time for it to go again. I've made the decision to go out to find some more. Now I know my chances of finding any are very low, and my risk of being exposed to the virus is very high. But at this point, I'm out of options.
Boots, gloves, mask. Splash. Bam.
We don't have to do this. I can give you half of what I got. I want more toilet paper than you can ever think of! Well, if this is how it's gotta be, do you mind if I sanitize your hand first? Yeah, of course. Stay down. Toilet
A little bit violent, huh? All that over toilet paper? I was gonna say, yeah, going by the water is probably a bad idea, huh? Yeah, you are. I see you. I see you.
Sáu thả lê chọn y nơ kỳ hiski su ta lê cả khó kỳ
Kali.
Kaliwahi.
Ijan skasta sejuk kali.
Klar ilahi yugiga skastasi ayadai
Iga uwodu kohi kali. Inena dinelo huga uweya.
hawa ni dohiyu osta elis ni inasu nuga Tega yagitlana
Dohiyu wosti tayi.
Sa aya yige sa in juk sast. Kado ke uske sa in.
Kali degalado ti ujeli elis du no hyank.
Ida de la hostan nu sta aya ai.
Ho ijakti da dai igayase hisi
Dohiyu juni kahisti.
He chunastetla na woti anisi yawia nunasta chudalena da uniyesti utloi chinjasta. He unega adatini go histiski. He gigagay adat na whisky. He gatnagay unastet adasteliski. Ale talonagay unastet adat na whisky o danilay. Dohiyu chunastetla junika histi aseno ijantata inageanehi anehyatahi klayon tohi alestai degatniti kla unina go isti hiki degalatohi kla kilo nudale yantatastisco aya was
Dan da ya gisko i.
Ayo, that's got shit.
Didis quango da chunastetla Klegao agislanti audule
Iga agi saftane.
Ayada squel.
Ai dah sko, saya awak dulu ya. Amayu sih di mana sih?
Juno stekla iga junika histi. Dohiyu osta ide da nestofti. Kali duga you so i ni goda. Elis da da ni godi de da nelokta.
Sayo want dai.
Kaslita udela hoisti osta kasliha. Eliu ide da nelokti. Iga uwosti. Sinuya janawu idodi kahaga.
Naski anehyatahi adiska kali. Sano osi yigi dinesh doti.
Kata ikat sta. Tuh you junsti ale ayah ide gua. Itu di kena Pedi ke
Dohiyu junsti. Asedno elu yiginak tana na kali digala doti ujeli.
Wah, ikan ikan saka husi ke. Asal na kata ina daga ina lagi.
Ani, asanu dante.
Gadon nihi jadon tesla dai.
Ani, nihi jasa ni jadante. Asa ni jadanta.
Ni tuh you jasa naski na buka jalan isti. Asal ni dante.
Hawa, ini gadaga. Aseno aya gohida dejini do hesti.
What the hell? How did the deer go invisible? Go get him.
Kato dadadan Ellie.
Ika, dini anuli, ale, gunata de listi.
Ostage hesti. Aseti diniti. Asku ika i. Ika unala says Curly.
Yeah.
Ika da, janula sa, tana tagi. Dini dia.
She's trying to be. Oosty. It's part of your name. Oosty. Oosty. It's like a fox or a raccoon.
Kadana tela. Do he you osta yigadante. Hedani gadan.
I think it's a gray fox. What do you think? Or is it a squirrel? It's definitely a rabbit, definitely a deer, definitely a bear. I don't know what that guy is. It's probably a fox. What the?
Dejani. Ika na hige sain.
Naski, unik jodan. Ika, dini anuli.
Ni the daga. Daddy ni yo. Ni God illegal sain.
What the? I don't know.
Lula, we digging nothing. Kaliwahi New Year Jana.
Dai, kato hadane ha. Chigano sela sai la hiu. Dejalesti degaladoting. Klakilo nudale yang tadastis ko. Aya aguasa.
Iga junika histi. Sanelagi no jelly.
Iga
Yeah.
ostanaski na gatlas ka unastetle. Nadigali stoti anisong iga aniatahi.
Kali, do you kta jinjawesa nustana? Junaste unija isa. Digaladoti nika inage anak sidon ha.
Janula sa, jidana deska.
Ojiska ha sa jojiniti yo jelliska. Aseno dai udan tesla. Ogaligo ha dojiniya ha. Kali, sa asawi no tatag. Sa naskin da gastani yo jelliska. Dohi of tadasto.
Yeah, the rabbit and the bear are the best
Iga ni hi tatela kwang. Iga dai. Oto, no na to you the
voice
channel
actors.
beta.
That deer isn't a very good voice actor.
Ko huska tante.
What? What are they doing, baby? Yeah.
Huh.
stories are
that was it.
living things. They only live when we tell them.
Cherokee storyteller Chuji Kingfisher continues an age-old tradition and tells us about his encounter with a fearsome creature lurking in his tight-knit community. Plus,
we're here and we make the same things that our ancestors made, and with the same seeds.
Chef Nico Albert shares her personal journey to the professional kitchen and how her Cherokee roots helped take her there. And
Judicola rock is a part of what they were. They knew it too in their time.
Judicola rock symbolizes an important facet of Cherokee culture and stands as a simple reminder of who and what has always been here. Plus,
Proud of the fact that I am a Husky, proud of the fact I'm Cherokee.
Football legend Sonny Sixkiller gives us a play-by-play of his iconic years as a star player and how that fame helps him to give back to his community.
The Cherokees.
A thriving American Indian tribe.
Our history.
Our culture. Our people.
Our future.
The principles of a historic nation.
Sewn into the fabric of a modern world.
Hundreds of thousands strong. Learning, growing,
Succeeding.
And steadfast.
In the past, we have persevered through struggle. But the future is ours to write.
OCO.
OCO. OCO.
These are the voices of the Cherokee people.
Yeah? Yeah? Mm-hmm.
OCO, I'm Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin Jr. Welcome to Tahlequah, Oklahoma, capital city of the Cherokee Nation. For generations, the Cherokee story has been told by others. Today, through this groundbreaking series, we're taking ownership of our own story and telling it as beautifully and authentically as we can. I hope you enjoy these profiles of our people, our history, and our culture. And please make plans to come visit us sometime. What else?
OCO, it's how we say hello in Cherokee. I'm your host, Jennifer Lauren, in the Cherokee National History Museum. Here you can discover the Cherokee creation story and other oral histories passed down through generations of our people. We'll have more on that a little later in our show.
I want to hear the
But
stories.
first, here in the Cherokee Nation, we rely on storytellers to pass on some of those oral traditions. But each storyteller has their own way of passing on that knowledge. Chuji Kingfisher has his own brand of storytelling infused with a little bit of Cherokee humor you won't find anywhere else.
Tonight we have Cherokee storytelling by Mr. Chuji Kingfisher.
How you guys doing? As was mentioned, this is for OCO TV. When they approached me about this, man, I'm just a country boy. I laughed at him, but they need this light to get my good side. I kept telling them, I said, all the way around is good for me, you know.
My name is Chuji Kingfisher. I'm a storyteller. Was blessed with the title of Cherokee National Treasure. A storyteller in our language is translated out to be liar. We are embellishers. In Sequoia, you say gul means storyteller. And they're just, storytellers are historians. Storytellers are everything, you know, to our tribal people.
You know, I've been doing storytelling for 30-something years. And it's given me the opportunity to travel all over the United States. I've been across the seas to Germany and Switzerland and places like that. My childhood was awesome. I wasn't rich by any means, money-wise. But I grew up in a good family. My mom and dad, they were full blood. They spoke the Cherokee language. I spoke the Cherokee language. I grew up in that small community playing stickball. I grew up in that small community pitching horseshoes. I grew up in that small community playing marbles, going to church, singing those hymns, going to stomp dance, singing those ceremonial songs.
You know, there's an old saying that it takes a village to raise a child. Man, that village had to be awful huge to raise this boy.
But the stories that I tell, they're not mine. I just share them so that they can continue to live within our people. I'm married to a wonderful woman. Her name is Tracy Kingfisher. I saw her at church. I wasn't actively looking because I was single. Man, I was enjoying my life. When we ended up dating, we were about 7 months into our relationship, 7 or 8 months. And all I kept hearing was, "You're not going to marry me. You're not going to marry me." I used to tell her, I said, "I never even thought about it," but I thought about it a few times. We were married for 2 weeks before we ever told anybody that we were married. When I had kids, I wanted to be able to tell them who I was and who they were. I have 4 kids and 5 grandbabies. I try to teach them as much as I can because I want them to know where they came from. I want them to know where their mama came from, where their families are from. I want them to know the stories that I know. When I came here last time, we told those scary stories. They weren't big and elaborate except for mine, because I'm a good liar. You see, times were different back when I was a kid. When I was a kid, it wasn't unusual to hear about shapeshifters. It wasn't unusual to hear about skillies or those scary things. I grew up in that small community called Rocky Ford. One day I was sitting at my aunt's house, sitting at the table. She came and she said, "Chuji, aren't you supposed to be home before dark?" I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "It's getting dark outside." So I pushed myself away from the table, grabbed one last biscuit for the road, and went running outside and jumped off the porch. I sat there at the edge of her yard and I looked down that dirt road that I had to travel, and I had never noticed this before. You see, on this side, the trees were tall and the limbs hung over the road this way. And on this side, there was a hillside and the trees hung over the road this way, and it made a tunnel. As I was looking down that tunnel, my aunt came out. She said, "Chuji, you better hurry up and run home before those boogermans come out and get you." She didn't have to say that, it was dark. I stood there looking down that dirt road and said, "Golly, there's got to be a boogerman in there somewhere." I started walking down that road and I was trying real hard not to think of those scary stories. But that's all that was coming in my mind. I stopped to take a breath. When I started walking, I could hear that gravel crunching underneath my feet, but I could also hear it crunching behind me. There was something walking behind me. All these noises on the side had disappeared. My heart was right here. Boy, if I could cough it up, I could have spit it out. And so I started walking a little bit faster. They started walking a little bit faster too. I started jogging just a little bit. They started jogging with me. I took off in a full sprint. Guess what? Boogermans can sprint too. Then I could hear it breathing. That boogerman's gonna get me. When I turned around, I looked back, all I could see was this white thing coming at me. Ah, boogerman! I took off running as fast as I could. I was running so hard and so fast, and I turned around to see how close it was, and I tripped on a rock. And I fell on the dirt road, and I tumbled end over end. I laid there, and he began to walk around me.
Yeah.
And then he done something that just absolutely terrified me. Began to make me shake. He stepped over me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I began to talk to myself. I said, "Self." Myself said, "Huh?" If this is the last time you're going to be on earth, See what it is that's going to take you out. On a count of 3, sum up all the courage that you have left and see what that boogeyman looks like. 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes. I opened my eyes. That boogeyman was looking at me right there like that with eyes this big. It was my cousin. He was wearing a white shirt with glasses on. He said, "Chuji, are you okay?" Get out of my face. I learned 2 things that night. Don't let your imagination get away from you. And number 2, get home before dark.
You know, the stories that I tell belong to everyone. And I've learned since then that stories are living things. They only live when we tell them. And so they'll never die as long as we tell them.
We will either die by our youth or survive by our youth. That's you. What are you going to do to secure your culture for the next generation? If you know the stories, share them. They don't have to start out long. They don't have to start out exciting. Just share them. Guys, I've enjoyed you being here. I wish I could see everybody. When they turn those lights on, I'll see you guys. But to OCO TV, your ratings are going to be real big now when you hear my part.
That's pretty cool, huh?
When it comes to Cherokee cooking, Chef Nico Albert takes pride in pushing her recipes to the next level. And as the lead singer of a metal band in her spare time, really, her whole life is next level.
That's part of being a chef, is that you watch someone and they're eating and you see a smile or you see an emotional reaction to what you're giving to someone. Food and music, you get that reaction from people. You know, you can see when someone's nodding their head or you can see when they're not. There's like that motivation to get a reaction out of people, to feel understood when you're sharing something like that. My name is Nico Albert, and I'm a citizen of the Cherokee Nation, and I'm a chef here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Growing up in California, it was just like paradise, you know, and I don't think I ever took that for granted as a kid. Like, I fully appreciated how wonderful everything was there.
She was a bookworm, she was teacher's pet, she was, winning all kinds of awards for writing, and
pretty cool.
She was just this really gung-ho, wonderful student. All of the teachers just loved her.
And then my dad got transferred and we moved to Phoenix, and being taken out of the place that I grew up and known my whole life and then dropped in kind of in the middle of the desert, it was like, a desert in so many ways. It was a really lonely place. I was angry at my parents for uprooting us and for moving us to this new place, and I was angry at my environment for not welcoming me in the way that would have made things easy for me. I definitely had a phase of teenage rebellion. I kind of fell in love with punk rock and hardcore music, and I thought, someday someone's gonna ask me to be in their band, and then that's gonna be my life, and I'll, run off being in a punk band. I was a really big fan of Fugazi. I loved Fugazi. Just anything that had that kind of an energy. It felt rebellious, it felt angry, like it spoke to me in all those different ways. Being an outsider there, I was still part of something, and like it was a whole community of outsiders, and that really spoke to me. But at the same time, there's a dark side to it. I started drinking really heavily. No job lasted longer than a month. And I went through a few of those, and then eventually there just weren't anymore. And at the same time, my little brother and my mom and dad moved to Oklahoma, and I was left in Phoenix. And I called my mom and I said, will you please help me? And she bought me a plane ticket and I flew to Oklahoma. When I got to Oklahoma, it immediately made me feel at home. My mother made sure that we knew that we were Cherokee. That was always part of our identity. We always made food from scratch and we made it together. We always had this connection to the land. She always had a garden.
So these seem a little big, but they haven't started curling yet, so that's what size you want, right?
Because, like, you want it to curl like that, huh? Can I chop it up?
Mm-hmm.
My mom was always telling me, you should be a chef, you should cook. And it wasn't until I moved to Tulsa that I finally decided, you know, it would be something I would be good at. I could still be passionate about music and art and whatever else, and this could be a career for me.
There's a little patch of yarrow right there, some young. Oh, there's a whole bunch of it too. There's some right here, there's some right here.
This is kind of like,
definitely got a flavor.
it's like licorice, kind of.
Strong.
Yeah. I'd met native friends that would forage for onions and have wild onions and eggs at home, and they brought some for me to try, and that was something that made me feel a connection to the Cherokee people and feel a part of the tribe. And it just felt so powerful to me that that was something that I could connect to, that I pursued it with everything I had. And then it just grew. I started incorporating it into professional cooking at that very first job, actually, because I learned to make fry bread, you know, years before that, and they wanted to do Indian tacos, and nobody there knew how to make fry bread, but I said, well, I do. I'm Cherokee, and I can make fry bread. I felt like I owned my identity as a Cherokee person, and then I was sharing it with other people, and it was just a powerful feeling that I've been exploring ever since that. Once I got to Oklahoma, the group of people that I really connected with and found some really strong friendships with, a lot of them were musicians, and so the music was always around part of my life. My entire social life was music. I didn't really dive in musically until I started spending more time at metal shows. All of that, you know, years that I really wanted to really be in a band and have that be a creative outlet for me in a real way, it became real. It's like when you share food with someone and you get that immediate reaction where they didn't expect that from you. It's just really rewarding. Learning about my culture has become part of my identity, is that I'm just constantly on this educational journey everywhere I go. You know, anytime people wanted to talk to a chef about native food and culture, they started calling me about that. Food starts the conversation, and then it just blossoms into learning so much more about a person or their experience. Because of my position as a Native American chef in Oklahoma, I have all of these speaking engagements and catering engagements and educational opportunities.
Yeah.
My goal right now is to use this platform and this opportunity that I've been given and use that voice to spread the message and the knowledge that I've been learning and growing to a wider group of people about native food and traditional ingredients. You know, reconnecting ourselves to these plants and animals as relatives instead of as just ingredients. There was a show on the BBC called Hairy Bikers, which usually highlights different people's regional foods. And so they approached me about being that representative to talk about and share Cherokee food. And so that's what we did. We cooked a traditional meal, and it really was just a first look at the Cherokee people for people that had absolutely no context, you know. And I feel like we represented what it is to be a modern Cherokee person and also carry with you the history that we have.
I was really hoping she'd talk about how to make
This is
something.
the food that our ancestors have kept alive over generations. And through all of the trauma and the hardship that's happened to our people, it's still here. And we're here and we make the same things that our ancestors made. And with the same seeds.
Some fried bread. What else?
It's not a heritage seed. It's not an heirloom seed. It's an ancestral seed. And it's still growing. Making sure that people know that and that we are sovereign people holding on to our land and our traditions. It's priceless to be able to tell that story on such a large stage.
Verdigris, Oklahoma. You know where that is? You know where Verdigris is?
For those who share the legend of Judaculla, it's one they say all Cherokees should hear. It's an oral history that comes from a time before Europeans arrived on this continent and guided the ways of life for generations of our people. In this Cherokee Almanac, we hear a story that for many Cherokees has been lost through time and distance.
Yeah.
Judaculla Rock sits near the headwaters of the Tuckasegee River in the mountains of western North Carolina, miles from the old Cherokee townhouse of Cullowhee. Traditional Cherokee knowledge and anthropological records tell us that the markings on the surface of Judaculla Rock have been there for close to 2,000 years, serving as both a reminder and as confirmation of Cherokees belonging to this place. Generations after Cherokee's forced removal, stories of Judaculla Rock and the being responsible for the etchings on its surface continue being told.
I remember hearing stories about Judaculla when I was 8 or 9. Stories of there being a being that lived among us. But this being lived and was a giant and knew how to talk to birds and animals and knew how to talk to fish. And even so much as knew how to speak to plants. And his job was to take care and maintain the balance of the natural world so that all things could benefit and all things could live in harmony. And I found out that the essence of the story was that his leaving here had to do with the fact that that responsibility now was being handed over to we as a people to take care of that. In the story it says that he heard about a group of men doing something wrong and hunting and killing deer when they weren't supposed to, and leaping from his home at what is now called Devil's Courthouse over the mountains to that valley where the rock is, landed there and stabilized himself by putting his hand on the rock, and thereby kind of discovering that that rock was there, which made it possible for him later to come back and then leave those marks there. And I think he left the marks there to ensure that no one would forget, that no one would misinterpret that knowledge that he left.
It's said that Judaculla left his knowledge on the rock so that Cherokees could learn to live in a sustainable manner. He included lessons about the stars, the seasons, times in which to plant, and the significance of places above and below the earth.
Yeah, you're tiny baby.
For Cherokees of the time, this knowledge oriented their perspective of the natural world and helped guide their role as stewards of the land.
Tiny baby. Huh.
So we took measures on how to treat the land, how to observe it at all times, and like Judaculla, if things were off balance, to bring back that essential way in which all things can exist in a sustainable manner. We watched the rivers, we lived by them. Our towns were situated next to streams and rivers like Katua and Cowie and the hundreds of other towns that existed in these valleys where the remains of our people still are. Judicola Rock is a part of what they were. They knew it too in their time. So it all begins to be a part of what we are today. To remember is to also ensure that you have a future. That kind of link, that kind of unbroken connection to where you come from is essential in order to continue to exist in a certain kind of a way. It is to connect us with the very ground that that rock sets on. It is to connect us with the very mountains. Every slope, every stream, every bend of the river connects us individually as Cherokees to this place. It tells us that this was our origin place, that we began here. It provides every individual Cherokee a place to touch base so that they will never be lost, so they can always say they have a place to be. That's the importance of Judicola Rock. It's not just petroglyphs. It's not just a piece of soapstone that somebody carved some marks on.
I love you
it
too.
tells you and yours for generations to come who they are.
Yeah.
And that should be important.
Yeah.
It was pretty important for about 10,000 years. Maybe we should carry on the same tradition and be that. Be just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk Cherokee.
You want to talk Cherokee?
I am walking. I am walking. Two of us are walking. Two of us are walking. A group of us are walking. A group of us are walking.
That was crazy, huh? Yeah.
Sonny Sixkiller is a living legend to Washington Huskies fans. We caught up with Sonny in Seattle, where his reputation as a Native American athlete is still larger than life, and where he uses his fame to make a difference in the lives of others.
Sonny hit the scene in 1970. This guy comes along, Sonny Sixkiller. The name was cool, the 6 jersey. You score a touchdown, it's 6 points. I mean, he just had all that thing to initially draw attention to himself. And then he backed it up on the field. He did so much to really revitalize the UW football program. But for me, as an 11-year-old, he was just cool.
My name is Sonny Sixkiller. Went to the University of Washington, played football for them, and then bounced around professionally for a long time. Did a movie with Burt Reynolds in The Longest Yard. Did a Hawaii Five-0 with Jack Lord. Currently working with Learfield IMG, Associate GM, working with the University of Washington Athletic Program, and proud to be a Cherokee Nation citizen. Primarily northeastern Oklahoma, in Stillwell's, where my dad and mom moved us out of there to go to the West Coast. My biggest memory of Oklahoma to me as a child was going back, visiting my mom's relatives and my dad's. Going back there.
Stillwell was pretty cool. They had that river in the hills. I actually want to go look at it now.
That was up on these little pillars. No electricity, no running water, and sleeping in spring beds with kerosene lanterns. That's like, I'm going, I remember as a kid laying there going, where's the TV? I think growing up in the 50s and early 60s, it was the three main sports, obviously, football, basketball, baseball. Ever since I can remember, I've been able to throw, and throw quite well. And for my age group, I was probably above the average, obviously. I figured if I played well enough, things would take care of themselves. Junior year, I started getting some interest from a few colleges, and in those days, there really wasn't that. And to get a college scholarship was a big deal. I mean, a really big deal. Recruiting coach came down to visit my senior year during the season, watched tape, and then came back for 2 other visits to watch me play basketball, and then decided to give me an offer for a full ride. The Huskies had won the Rose Bowl in 1964, and between 64 and 69, there was a lot of change everywhere. You know, it was a tough time in Seattle at the time, and my freshman year, there was a billboard downtown Seattle that said, "Hey, last person in Seattle, turn out the lights." I went, oh, wow, what are we going to do here now?
Well, the year before, Washington was a horrible football team. They were 1-9 and needed some type of spark, and it turned out to be Sonny, and made an instant impact to the degree he was so good at throwing the football. They really changed what they did offensively.
The varsity ended up playing, it's called a wishbone. Basically, it's a run offense, right? Well, we did it our first game, and we got killed in our first freshman game. Came back, implemented some passing plays, of which I was going to be the starting quarterback. And we go down to Eugene, my freshman year, and I threw like a 59-yard touchdown, you know, one of those long and deep and high. And we never did the wishbone again.
Washington goes from 1-9 in 1969 to 6-4 in Sonny's sophomore year, and there was really no one that had a greater role in that turnaround than Sonny Sixford, which of course added to his legend at the time, and the fact that that legend remains very strong to this day.
I couldn't go anywhere after my first game as a sophomore without being torn apart. Like, somebody wanted a piece of you, somebody wanted to take you here, somebody wanted this, would you sign this, would you do this? I couldn't go to the local hamburger stand with my friends because it'd just be like, ah. I stayed in the car. When that was taken, I didn't want to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. And I told the athletic department I didn't want to do it. And then after practice one day, our sports and information director grabbed me and goes, "Hey, Sonny, I want you to meet somebody." I said, "Who is it?" He goes, "Come on over." And he goes, I want to introduce you to Roy Blount Jr. He's a writer for Sports Illustrated. I went, "Mark?" He goes, "Just go with it." So that's how it happened. I didn't really want to do it because I felt like it was putting me above the team. But in retrospect, I'm glad it happened because I'm one of only 2 Huskies ever to be a feature story on Sports Illustrated, and as far as I know, the only Native American quarterback to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated. When I travel around or I'm out and about, and obviously, you know, people say, "Hey, are you Native?" "Yeah." "Hey, me too." I think that the young Native kids that you know, and thanked them for being there. I kind of enjoyed that because it made me feel good.
I scared my battery died there. That would have been bad.
Not just solely for myself.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we would have had a long walk.
See, everybody's busy today. Nobody's in here yet. Currently working in Seattle. I work for a company called Learfield IMG College. We represent more multimedia right holders for college athletics. I've been in some form of sales ever since college. You know, whether it be life insurance. I was in the beverage industry for over 20 years, and then I decided to make a career change. So I went to work for a local radio station, primarily because they were the station of the UW Huskies football and basketball. And so I did the color for those. And after about the 3rd year, I went, maybe I should go sell this stuff. Made a call, and next thing you know, I got an interview, and next thing you know, I've got a job. For me personally, it's a win-win. I've lived here ever since college. I've gone to the games, I support the team, and of course I get to work with the UW, so it's perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the 9th annual Sonny Sixkiller celebrity golf tournament. I just want to say thanks to everybody being out here. And I want to thank all those Huskies for taking the time out of your schedules to come out and be a part of this charity tournament, raise money for the local charity, all right?
The golf tournament is really to help the hospital in Port Angeles buy diagnostics or medical equipment that they don't have to travel to Seattle or some other city to get done.
All right.
Oh, right.
That's how it really came about. The marriage of the Husky fan base and then me with the ties at the University of Washington. It was a perfect combination to put the golf tournament together. That's part of the deal. You know, you went to UW, you played football there, people know who you are. You got to keep giving it back. Everybody always asks me, don't you get tired of people talking to you, grabbing you? I said, no, that's part of the deal. I think for me, I think that people around Seattle know I'm very proud of who I am. And I'm proud of that, proud of the fact that I am a Husky, proud of the fact I'm Cherokee, and nobody can ever take that away from me.
Wow. We hope you enjoyed our show. Remember, you can always watch entire episodes and share your favorite stories online at oco.tv. There is no Cherokee word for goodbye because we know we'll see you again. We say, Dodadago ha'i. Wada.
Tell that to your mom. There's no Cherokee word for goodbye, huh? Let's make sure we can get the engine started, huh? Yeah. Fire thief, what? They did one story on Seattle and they start stealing stuff and setting it on fire. Typical rioters. What's this? You ready to get going? You tired, baby? You be tired, baby? Come on. Oh, you're tired, baby.
That's geil.
Was Christian, ja.
Rồi yêu cầu nè rồi hả?
Ủa, thì nó cái tên nào?
Yeah. Oh, did you drool everywhere? What's up, dude? Yeah, kind of good. Alright, come on. Tiny boy. Oh, you tiny, tiny guy. Oh. Oh, we're still zoomed in, huh? I didn't realize it held it zoom like that, huh? Alright. Ready to go? Hmm? You ready to go? Well, hold on. Oh. Should have had the AC on. I can see her. Whoa! Hey, man! Hey! Yeah? Yeah? You're good. You're good. Yeah.